Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about how I got 2 consulting jobs right out of college, one after the other, pretty much without any experience, without perfect grades, without, that like A+ CV that everyone thinks you need to get into consulting. I'm going to be telling you guys how I did it. If you're new to my channel, what's up? My name is Zoe. I used to work at a Big 4 consulting firm in management consulting, and now I work as a tech consultant here in Montreal. So if this is the first video of mine that you are seeing, what's up? I'm a little bit rambly. Sometimes people get mad at me for that. So I suggest you guys get cozy because I am going to be telling this video more like a story, and there is going to be a bit of a spiritual element to it because I do think manifestation played a big role in how I was able to land these jobs. So this isn't going to be like your typical 10 tips to getting into consulting. This is going to be my personal story, very real, with a lot of tips along the way to help you guys get into consulting as well. Whether it's management consulting or tech consulting, I don't think it really matters. I think all of these tips will apply. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up so that I will so that I can put out more consulting content for you. It really supports my channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so let's start from the very beginning in university when I decided I wanted to be a consultant. So I didn't have perfect grades in university. My GPA was about a 3.2 out of 4.3. 3.2 over 4.3, that was my GPA, so good. Not perfect, I definitely had C's here and there. I would say I was like a pretty average student. And I decided I wanted to get into consulting. Now, I definitely stressed a lot worrying about my grades when trying to get in, and in hindsight, that was so unnecessary. There are definitely some firms for which grades are a big deal. Off the top of my head, that's McKinsey, BCG, and Deloitte really care about your grades. Other than that, I don't think it really matters. There are also some boutique firms that care a lot about your grades. So right off the bat, I just knew to avoid those. So that is my first tip, is to really do your research about the different firms and know which firm is going to be right for you. If you don't have perfect grades, then don't stress out about not getting into McKinsey when you can be putting your effort to other firms like PwC, Accenture, etc., that for which grades don't matter as much. So the reason I wanted to get into management consulting was because I was a part of this club, which was the Case Competition Club. And it was in that club that I found myself really able to shine and my talents to come out. So my talents aren't in writing exams, filling out multiple choice. That is not my talent. My talent, and maybe you can guess based off of, my YouTube channel, is really public speaking. So that is where I was able to, like I said, shine, enjoy myself, and that is where I discovered consulting and that I wanted to be a consultant. So that is another tip, is to find a place. If grades aren't your thing, you need to find a place where you can stand out. So whether that's public speaking and case competitions, that could be Model UN, you need to find a place that your strengths can come out and that you can translate those strengths onto paper and your CV, because consulting firms are definitely looking for that. And so you need to have that something to put on your CV, and it doesn't need to be grades. It doesn't need to be public speaking, but find what it is that you are passionate about and what makes you shine, and get that written down on your CV. So in the Case Competition Club, I made so many friends, and a lot of them were interested in working in consulting. And here's the thing. I also got a boyfriend from that club, and he was a few years older than me, and he ended up graduating first and going on to work as a management consultant. He told me his salary, and he ended up working at a certain Big 4. Later on, before I graduated, we broke up, and I knew that I did not want to work at that firm. So because I didn't want to end up working at the same place as my ex. So I was like, okay, that firm is off the table. The next thing is that 2 of my really good friends, one of them worked already at this Big 4 as an accountant, and we used to joke that it would be so fun if the 3 of us all ended up working at this firm, her in accounting and the other, myself and the other guy in consulting. Now, they were a little bit older than me as well, and my friend Chris ended up getting a job at this firm in consulting, so it was all left on me. And the reason I'm telling you guys this backstory is because I think certain things come to be, and that's where this manifestation comes into play, when things are in the back of your head for a while. So when we said, oh, we all want to work at this, consulting firm together. Little did we know that even though we were just joking and kind of fantasizing, we were putting it out there into the universe that maybe one day we actually all would work at this firm together. So let's fast forward now. It is time for me to graduate and find a job. Now I'm applying to places like crazy. I'm going through all the interviews. I'm attending all of the networking sessions, which is really important. So there's another tip, is make sure you attend these networking sessions. And I narrowed down my final picks to 2 firms. One of them was the Big 4 firm that my friends worked at, and the other one was Accenture. I think I can say it. It was Accenture. So I really wanted to work at those 2 places. I got interviews for both. And we're going to talk about manifestation again now. So for some reason, I had it in my head that I really wanted to work at Accenture. I wanted it so badly that I had a really firm grip on it. If any of you guys are familiar with manifestation, you know that a big part of it is knowing that you want something, but then feeling confident that you will receive it and therefore letting it go. I wanted to work at Accenture so badly. It was all I thought about day in and day out. Now, for me, whenever I have that attitude about something, whether it's grades on a test, whether it's a job, whether it's a boy, it never comes true because my grip on it is too tight and I'm approaching it with so much fear. So I truly believe if you are approaching a job or a firm with so much fear, it comes from a place of doubt that you don't think you're able to get that job, and in the end, you won't end up getting it. I made it all the way to the end of recruitment at Accenture. I was pretty sure I got the job, but there was still this doubt inside of me, and spoiler alert, I ended up not getting it. So there was also, at the same time, I was also interviewing for this other firm. And for some reason, my attitude about it was just different. I was just confident that I was gonna get the role, and for some reason, I still really wanted Accenture. So I'm going through the process, and I was just like, no big deal, I'm gonna get this job. No big deal, I'm gonna get this job. It's fine, I'm gonna get it. And I had an amazing interview experience. I was flown to Toronto. I got to stay in a hotel. It was super fun. And as all of this was happening and I was not hearing back from Accenture, the wheels started turning in my brain and I started wanting this company more. And I remembered that wish that I had made a few years before of really wanting to work for this firm and visualizing myself working there all these years with my friends just in a joking way. So I go to my interview, it goes amazingly, it was the final interview, and I go home. The next day, I get a phone call saying that I got the job, and I was so excited. After having gone through the interviews, I also realized that this was definitely a place that I wanted to work, and I just didn't have that same lack mentality that I did with Accenture. At this firm, I was just like, I think I can get it. I totally see myself working here. I'm gonna work with my friends. That's the thing. Another few of my friends ended up working there. We weren't as close of friends, but I was just like, I totally see myself here. I was confident and I visualized it. And I think that is so important when you want something, to be confident about it and visualize it. I knew where their office tower was here in Montreal. I saw myself walking into that office tower and it was just so natural inside of me that when I got the call, I wasn't even surprised that I had gotten it. It just made sense. 2 or 3 days after getting that call, I got a call from Accenture saying that they really, really liked me and they really wanted to hire me, but they had to cut down the hiring group from 8 to 4. What are the odds of that, right? And I just think it painted a really good example for me of when you want something too much and you're too afraid of not getting it, the universe doesn't give it to you. So I took the job and, it was like a year before I started. So many things changed and so many things happened. And as some of you who watch my channel probably know, that job ended up not being how I wanted it to be. It ended up being a really negative experience, but I don't think that takes away from the story of how I got that job. Again, with imperfect grades, with, not a perfect CV, but rather just getting it because I was confident, and that confidence allowed me to interview well. And because I had found that place that made me shine and put that on my CV, that's how I was able to get that job. So the job ended up not working out, and that is how we get into the second job that I manifested. So we're going back in time now, back to when I was in university doing these case competitions. I did a case competition here in Montreal called Happening Marketing, which was sponsored by a company that was at the time called Enspro. They sponsored the case that I was doing. My team and I ended up winning first place in that competition. So we won first place. We delivered, well, before we won, we delivered our presentation, and we delivered it to a panel of judges that were all consultants or executives at this company. After the fact, they all came up to us and, congratulated us on winning and told us we did such an amazing job. And pretty much on the spot, they offered each of us a job. Now, I was still in school, so I couldn't accept the job, but I loved meeting these people. I thought they were fantastic. They told me about their office in the old port of Montreal. They really painted this picture that I could visualize working there. So I ended up not taking the job, like I said, but I always had it in the back of my mind that when I graduated, I could get a job at this company. Things happened. I ended up working at the Big Four because I thought that that was like a better move. Then as I was working at the Big Four and I realized that I hate this, it's not for me, I remembered this consulting company, this tech consulting company that I had met and that I loved so much at the time. And I started imagining what it would be like if I worked there. I saw myself going into the office in the old port. I remembered the people that I had networked with and saw myself working alongside them and talking with them. And the wheels started turning without even me realizing that what I was doing was manifesting it. Those wheels just started turning kind of like a daydream because I was so miserable at this current job. So let's pause and place that as a tip. Daydreaming is a phenomenal way to manifest things. Whether you're still in school, daydream about the career you want. What does it look like? How do you feel? Daydreaming is so powerful, and I think that for me is the most powerful way that I manifest things because I picture it happening, and picturing it happening starts for you to put those moves into motion even without you realizing that you were doing it. So things went down at this job. I have a whole video about that. And one day I said, F it. I'm going to message the CEO of this company who I had met at the case competition and just see if he remembers me. I sent him a message on LinkedIn. He responded right away and was like, of course I remember you. Your timing is phenomenal. We are looking for someone for our Montreal office for this position that I think would be great for you. Within a few weeks, I had the job. And it was that easy. It was literally so easy because I had manifested it. Because I put myself in a position at the case competition where I was so happy, where I was shining. He saw me in that light and he remembered that. So when you are doing things that you love and when you are shining, people will remember that, and you will be able to talk about that in interviews with so much passion that it makes people want to work with you. It makes people want to hire you. So again, make sure that you are putting yourself in those situations of things that you are passionate about. If you have a YouTube channel, that is amazing for consulting. You are literally doing public speaking. And if you're passionate about your YouTube channel, make sure you're telling people about it. Make sure you're talking about it when you're interviewing at places. So I ended up getting the job, and now I want to talk about salary because I was also able to manifest the exact salary that I wanted twice. So if we back up a bit, remember I said that I had this boyfriend and I knew how much money he was making at Deloitte. Now, I'm a bit of a petty person, okay? And I'm very competitive, especially when it comes to men because, historically men make more money than women. There's definitely like a wage imbalance. And I just have this attitude of anytime I see a man doing something that interests me, I not only have to do it, but I have to do it better than him. Maybe that's unhealthy, but that is my attitude, and that is like what I as a woman feel like I need to do to advance myself and also just for like women in general. So I'm like, if my boyfriend or my ex is making this salary, I'm gonna make more than him. And I said that, I said, I wanna make more money than he does, like, let's go. Just because, okay? I'm not gonna get into the details of why. So I ended up signing an offer at the first Big Four that offered me $15,000 more than this guy was making. Pretty good, huh? So just having set that into place of like, I know this number, I want to make more than that. I think it's really hard with your first salary, especially like I was 21 years old when they gave me the offer. Like I didn't know how much money to be asking for. I didn't know about negotiating. Also, side note, a lot of the times at the Big Four, these numbers are non-negotiable. They're just like across the board, everyone starts at the same level. But I do think it's pretty cool that I started at such a good level. First of all, that like allowed me for a really comfortable lifestyle, which I'm super grateful for, but also just knowing that I had a base in my head of how much money I wanted to make and not settling for less than that, I think is really powerful as well. Whether or not you're interested in consulting, whether or not this is your first job, I think having a number in mind, you can manifest that number. You really can. If you know the exact number that you want, or if you know you want more than a certain number, and you just visualize that and you tell yourself every day, I deserve this because blah, 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 you can get that exact number. So I started with a really good salary, and then I hated my job. And you know, if you guys watch my channel, you guys know I experienced a huge lifestyle inflation. I got a really expensive apartment, I had an expensive lifestyle, and then I hated the job. And if I quit, there was so much riding on that, because as a new grad, I didn't think I could get more money than I was making. And I thought, oh my God, if I quit, I'm gonna have to move. I'm gonna have to, you know, this life that I've been living and this apartment that I love, it was mostly about the apartment. I just didn't want to move. I was so happy in my place. I was like, I can't move. There was so much panic around it. And in the back of my mind, I told myself, you know what, Zoe, you are so miserable at this job. Don't worry about salary. Salary will figure itself out, but let's get you to a place where you feel happy, because that's more important than salary. And so I told myself that over and over again, don't worry about the money, don't worry about the money, don't worry about the money, focus on your happiness. And I ended up getting this offer, right? We're doing all this messaging on LinkedIn. I'm speaking with the recruiter. And the first call with the recruiter, he asked me, how much money are you currently making? So I told him, and he said, oh, that's around what we pay. And I thought, oh my God, okay, like, I'm not gonna have to flip my life around. Like, this is fine, I can stay in my apartment, blah, blah, blah. I was very happy. Now, when he said around, I didn't think, you know, I thought it might be a little bit less. And anyway, time goes on and we are in the process of like working on this agreement. And I'm starting to wrap my head around, okay, I'm gonna get an offer. There's gonna be a number on this offer. What number do I want? So I remember I was sitting down on this couch and I wrote in my journal, the name of the recruiter is going to call me and he's going to give me an offer with this amount. And it was a few $1,000s more than what I was currently making. I kind of didn't think I could get it, but I wasn't worried about it, right? If we go back to Accenture, I was like, I remember in my phone, I thought that this would work for like manifesting. I wrote in my notes, I will work at Accenture, I will work at Accenture, but I was obsessing. With this, I didn't obsess. I thought, maybe it won't happen, but it'd be so nice if I got a little bit more money. And so I wrote down the amount and I didn't worry about it. 2 hours later, he calls me. I got the exact amount that I wrote down on the paper. The exact amount. Insane. Freaking sane. I chose a path that I knew would bring me more happiness. I didn't worry about the money, and I ended up being rewarded and making more money than I thought. Side note, because I'm petty, like I said, I remember some of my colleagues were like, when I announced that I was quitting the Big Four, they were like, how are you gonna pay for your apartment? Like, oh, you'll never make as much money. I'm making more. And so it's not all about the money, but like money is important, and especially as women, like, you know, let's stop not caring about money. No, you deserve to make a good salary, and I really think you can manifest the exact salary that you want. That comes from knowing your worth. That comes from having a good base to start with, right? I got lucky that I started at this good base, but I really do believe I manifested it. And then look at that. I manifested the exact amount that I wanted. Can I say this on camera? I don't know if I'm going to take it, but recently I wrote down on a piece of paper that I would like to make a certain salary per year. And because of COVID, like I didn't get the biggest raise this year at my company, which is fine, it's very understandable. But I had written down before they announced what a percentage raise I was getting, I wrote down a certain salary that I would like to make. I didn't get it from my job, and I thought, well, it's COVID. I'm just grateful to have a job. I'm not worried about it. I threw away the piece of paper. I ended up getting a job offer. I don't know yet if I'm taking it or not. Like I haven't decided, which is why I feel weird putting it in this video. They offered me that amount of money that I had written down on that paper. Guys, if by this point you don't believe me that writing stuff down and daydreaming can get you the exact job and the exact salary that you want, I don't know what will prove it. You can watch as many of those super structured, how to get this, 10 tips, blah, blah, blah. You can watch as many of those videos as you want, but until you internally decide what you want and what you deserve and believe with your whole heart that you're capable of getting it, it's not gonna work. So I can't teach you how to believe in yourself. I can't teach you how to feel those things, but I do know that everybody watching has something that they're good at, has something that makes them shine, and has the ability to daydream. You all have it. Trust yourself, trust that things that you want can come true. And just like me, you can manifest not one, but 2 jobs, that the exact job at the exact company that you want, and then with the exact salary that you want. So you guys, I hope this video was helpful in some way. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you aren't already. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.